Welcome everyone. I just want to say good morning to everybody in US and good evening to everybody who is joining from India. So what I'll do is I'll just quickly just give you the structure of the webinar that we're going to do, and I would hope that it's very interactive because we just want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to talk to each other in the spirit of Crew Network. So I will just give a brief introduction of Christine. Then she will run us through a presentation on what Crew is all about and her journey. She's one fierce lady that I have got to know in recent past. And then I will invite Revti, who is our sort of like a star speaker, and I'll introduce her, and then she will actually run a brief talk on her journey and what she has, some remarkable things that she has done in last few years. And then we will open last 10 to 15 minutes of the webinar as question and answers. So you guys can either share your questions on chat, or if you would like to come on screen, then we can actually give you a control and ask your specific questions to either Christine or Revti. So I think can we get started, Laura, or do you think we can wait for another 2 or 3 minutes? Just for, how many people do we have so far?
Looks like we have 15 on. I would wait just another minute, and then I'll get the presentation up in the meantime.
Perfect. So I'll go ahead and just give a very brief introduction of Christine. She's our president of Crew Network. So shall I start, Laura? I think this is a good time. Okay. So hello everyone, Christine Goram, CCIM is the Director of Development. She is responsible for executive project strategy and business development for Cadis Healthcare. It is a Dallas, Texas-based private real estate firm. Cadis is exclusively focused on development, investment, leasing, and management in the healthcare industry. Christine previously served as the CEO and partner of Eastwood Real Estate Services, LLC. She totally has over 31 years of medical operations experience, in which 21 of those years focused in the real estate sector of healthcare, and 10 of those years with one of the largest hospital systems in Atlanta, making her a uniquely qualified professional. Christine is the 2020 Global President of Crew Network, serving its 12,000 members in the US, Canada, UK, and now in India. She is the director on the board for the Atlanta Commercial Board of Realtors and is the past chair for their Diversity Committee's mentorship program. Christine is also serving on the inaugural Steering Committee of Women in Healthcare, Georgia chapter, as the chair of mentoring, and she's the co-chair of membership for Young Men's Service League, where she is also volunteering her time in her community with her youngest son. Christine was the 2018 Global Chair of Crew Network Foundation, and she was selected to serve on the inaugural advisory board for Atlanta Women's Foundation Inspires Leadership in Philanthropy program. In the year 2015 and 2016, she was the director on the Global Crew Network board, and she was the president of Crew Atlanta in 2014. Christine was selected to the Career Master Class of 2020 as a Leadership in Action honoree. this award is presented to women who have been dubbed as a game changer, and that I can say that she has been a game changer. Women who have made their mark in business and are exceptionally strong role models of what a woman can do through inspiring and encouraging others, and they take charge of their careers. She had been honored with Shining Light Award by Crew Atlanta, an annual selection which is presented to Georgians who have inspired the lives of others through their service. She has been named Atlanta's top 40 most powerful women in commercial real estate by BizNow, and who in the top 100 influential leaders in the commercial real estate by Atlanta Business Chronicle. With that, I would like to invite Christine to take the center stage on this webinar and give us a peek into her career and journey as a power woman in CRE, and leading and making way for other women leading through Crew Network. Over to you, Christine.
Great, thank you so much. I appreciate that introduction. And just want to extend a warm welcome to everybody who's joining us today. I appreciate you taking your time to be here with us, and I look forward to our discussion today. So with that, I'll go ahead and get started. Many of you may know a little bit about Crew Network, and some of you may not. So what we'd like to do is just do a quick overview of who Crew Network is, who do we touch, and what is our mission. And so let's go ahead and get started. Crew Network, as we were talking about, is a network that is global, it is wide-reaching, and we are currently in the US, Canada, the UK, and India, and we are still looking to grow, so we are looking to continue that expansion. And our mission is to transform the commercial real estate industry by advancing women globally. And everything that we do really focuses on our mission statement. And we are very, very adamant about advancing women globally. Our initiatives within the mission, we have 4 what we call pillars. And that is business networking. So we are really looking to connect people. And I have to tell you that Crew Network, I think, is one of the best associations or organizations that I've seen where people are working together truly to connect and truly to bring business to each other and help each other. So sometimes it's not always about the deal, but it is about the connections and using folks as resources and really being able to be top of your game. And so that is one of our pillars, is business networking. The second is leadership development. And we try to implement a wide range of leadership opportunities so that the young women that are coming in have some leadership opportunities all the way through to the most senior women. And we work all along that spectrum to introduce different types of leadership development opportunities. The third is industry research. And our industry research is, we found that one of the compelling aspects of industry research is that instead of trying to talk to people and saying, women feel like this, women believe this, what we do with our industry research is we do a lot of background data gathering, and we pull that together and we mix that with different stories that are actual facts about what we're seeing in the industry right now. So the ability to speak with different groups, different organizations about where we are as women in the commercial real estate industry is fact-based. And so we issue a benchmark study every 5 years. We are in the process of completing that right now, and we will be issuing the results of that a little bit later this year. And what we do is we look every 5 years to see what kind of progress, what kind of change there has been for women in the industry. So we're excited to see that come out toward the end of this year. And you are welcome to reach out to the Crew Network. We'll provide that information, and it will be on our website. And so you can have access to that. Also, in addition to the benchmark studies, we also do different types of white papers. And we have done everything from diversity pay, to pay gaps. And we've done things with industry recruiters. So there are different types of white papers that we do that you also have access to on the Crew Network website. And then the fourth pillar that we have career outreach. And with career outreach, we are working from females who are in the high school, the upper teen level, to try to educate them about what does commercial real estate look like. Many young girls think that all real estate has to do with houses. And what we try to educate them on is that it's actually the commercial world and what the opportunities are in the commercial world. We also work with the college-aged women and those who are attending university, and we educate them as well. So they may be studying finance, but they may not know what they could do with their finance degree to some extent, what all of the options are. And so we try to reach out to university level women and let them know the various types of opportunities available to them in the commercial real estate industry as well. And then we also have on our website, we have scholarship winners every year, and we have opportunities for women who are looking for internships. And we work with our corporate sponsors to provide the internships. And then we also have job postings that we have for all of our chapter members throughout, and members at large throughout the organization. So all of our members have access to the job database. And so we are constantly working through the whole spectrum of a lifetime to serve women in real estate. So member benefits, like I had said earlier, deals are definitely part of it. So we want to be able to try to help each other with transactions. So we want to be able to have opportunities available to each other. And so that is absolutely part of member benefits. And we have different networking events to cultivate those deals, and we encourage them through different means. One of those means is we have access to CrewBiz. CrewBiz is an online platform that I think you kind of describe it as a whiteboard, an electronic digital whiteboard that people can write into. It's very easy to use. It's a platform that you can go sign into on the web, and you can ask people questions. You can post about some type of deal that or opportunity that you have. And it's a way to interact throughout our entire global membership, that everybody has access to that. And you have to be a member to be part of CrewBiz. So we do things with connecting relationships. We have the information exchange there, and business opportunities. Also, one of the member benefits, as I spoke about, was professional development and leadership opportunities. And some of the ways that we do that, in addition to the way I've already spoken of, is through leadership certificate. We have a leadership certificate program. It's a structured program that happens throughout an entire year. And we have different speakers we have 3 different speakers that work with our leadership certificate members, class members, and we go through a programming series which helps them to develop their personal and professional leadership skills. Next, we also have convention. Once a year, we have convention, and we bring together everybody who are members and non-members as well to a location, and we hold our annual convention. We typically talk about, we usually have information about capital markets, different sectors of the real estate industry, whether it be retail, industrial, office, senior housing. We do all types of different education breakout sessions for people to get updated information and hear from experts in their particular silos of the industry. And then we also bring people together as a whole group, and we do more inspirational type talks, and then what kind of trends are happening in the commercial real estate industry globally. And then in between that, and certainly we have been doing this a lot since we've been, we've all been experiencing, unfortunately, COVID. And we have been in lockdown quarantine, so we are doing much more with webinars. We've got a spring summit that we host every year, and this year we are not able to travel to, it was going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina, here on the East Coast. And what we are going to do instead is we've changed a little bit of the programming to fit with the current conditions that we are in right now, and we are offering the summit free to all of our members via webinar. So that's going to be exciting, and I'm very thankful that people at Crew Network have our technology figured out, and we have some exciting ways that we're going to be presenting the summit this year. So we look forward to that June 18th and 19th if you would like to join us. Again, going back to Crew Biz, I just want to dive into it a little bit deeper because it is such a powerful tool that we are using like crazy right now. But it's a very, very popular tool that Crew offers our members. And this gives you a little bit of look about what it looks like when you sign on. So we have latest discussions, and this could be, again, this you can see here on the screen, Seeking New York, I'm sorry, I was like, hold on, Laura. Seeking New York, Florida licensed attorney. So that's an example of somebody on the board looking for business. And then here's an example of what the forum looks like. So the forum is sort of the open ground, and you can see that where it says thread subject, those are all the different topics that are currently being discussed. You can click on that and you can participate in that discussion. We've also got our CEO blog is also accessible through the Crew Biz app. And this comes out daily. The interactions are happening around the clock. People work on this from the time they wake up. Some people work on it during their day. Some people close out their day by working on this toward the end of it. They'll take a look at the end of the evening. And again, because this is web-based, it is constantly open. So because of the time difference that we experience, there is a lot of activity that can happen throughout the 24-hour period. So I want to move on a little bit to just talking about leadership. And I will tell you, this is probably what, I love this slide. And I just want to read it real quick. I'm a great believer in luck, and I find the harder I work, the more I have of it. And that was a quote by Thomas Jefferson. And I just want to say, I feel this probably more than ever right now. There is a lot of hard work going on, and a lot of people are adjusting. And I think we are in a very crucial time. And I think this is one of those opportunities as an individual where you can say, this is really tough. I just need to take a break. I just need to relax, and I'm overwhelmed with everything. And, we always say, just take one step at a time. But if you are not taking a step at a time and trying to move forward, it is times like this where there is a lot of uncertainty and there is a lot going on that everybody's trying to sift through what kind of information is out there and trying to understand where we are. But these are times where you keep your head down and keep working hard. And then on the other side, hopefully you'll have some luck. The 5 B's about showing up. So I think one thing that you cannot change is this first one. It says, be yourself, everyone else is taken. I think it's extremely important in business, and being in a commercial real estate industry, we interact with people all of the time. It is a very people-oriented business. And if you are not being yourself, you are not going to be authentic, and you are not going to come across consistently authentic. And I think that is one of the most important things as humans interact that we need to do, is be consistent and be authentic. The 5 B's that we put together: be yourself, be prepared. When you show up for a meeting, when you show up for any type of discussion, be prepared, know your material, be appropriate. There have been so many situations where people have not acted appropriately, they have not spoken appropriately, they have not addressed people appropriately, and that can really come back to hurt you. So understand what is appropriate behavior and at whatever your situation is. Be present. you know, if I was sitting here right now and I was kind of talking to you like this and I was looking around and you could tell I was looking at my phone, certainly that would not be the same type of presentation, and I really don't think you would take me very seriously. So be present and listen to what the other folks are saying to you. The other people are going to, whoever you're interacting with, whether it be one-on-one or in a group setting, be present, and you want to make sure you are hearing what the other people are having to say that are around you. And be out there. And by be out there, I mean, put yourself out there. Sometimes you need to stretch. Sometimes something will feel a little bit uncomfortable, but that's okay. That's okay. Give yourself the opportunity to stretch. Give yourself the opportunity to grow. So, and then be out there also in social media and LinkedIn. Make sure you're being visible to those in your industry, and try to be a thought leader and introduce new information at different points in time. How to gain more business opportunities. I won't go through this whole list, but one of the things I can tell you, you know, I'm just going to read through them and expand on a little bit of a couple of them. Being on time. That's pretty self-explanatory. I've heard that, you know, if you walk in late, you can miss a lot of the initial information and the kickoff. One of the things that I've also heard about that I thought is worth sharing. Part of being on time is if you are somewhere early, you typically have the opportunity to talk to people that maybe you would not otherwise have the opportunity to engage with. So being on time can also be in a room a little bit early, and you will increase the opportunity for engagement. Work ethic, have a strong work ethic, put forward the effort, have the appropriate body language. Energy. Nobody likes to talk to somebody who's talking to you like this and doesn't sound excited. So have the energy. I can't help myself. I have high energy. Attitude, positive attitude, passion about what you're doing. And think, if you don't have passion about what you're doing, we want to reevaluate maybe what you're doing. Passion, if you have passion about what you are doing, it's going to shine through. Being coachable, I've heard this over and over again, is be willing to listen to others, and you may want to modify how you handle, whether it be a pitch for business, whether it be a way you approach business, but be open to trying different things. Doing extra and being prepared, and we've already talked about those. The other items I wanted to mention is be clear on exactly what you need to achieve your goals. If you're not clear on what it is that you need, you're going to be on a winding road, and it's going to take you a lot longer to get there. So really think about and plan, here is my goal, and back into how do I get there? Network, and those are all in capital letters for a very important reason. Networking is extremely important in our business. It's important in several businesses, many businesses, but networking is crucial. And one of the key things that I say to, especially to women, I've gotten the question often, what would you tell somebody younger coming into the industry? One of the most important things I would tell you as a female, and this goes for young women who are coming into the industry who may step out in order to have children, but this could also be for somebody that steps out to take care of the elderly or some other reason, or somebody in your family. But whatever you do, if you have to step away from the industry for any amount of time, continue to access your network. Even when you're away, continue to stay in touch with people that you do business with and that you have relationships with, because they will help you when it comes time to come back, when it's time to come back. When you are in the industry and you are here on a daily basis, continue to network. It will absolutely help you with information and opportunities. Know your industry. I am in healthcare, and I know healthcare is different in all of our different countries, but within the healthcare industry here in the United States, I spend more time reading about healthcare probably than I do about real estate, from the simple fact of we've got to understand who our clients are, what they are experiencing, what kind of trouble they are having, so that we are able to try to help them more effectively. So know your industry, understand what the people are going through. Stay current, not only on your industry, but stay current on information around you so that you can engage in those types of, in conversations of all sorts of topics. And again, put yourself out there. Use your network, use your social media, and make sure that you are putting forth information. Look closely at the present you are constructing. It should look like the future you are dreaming. And I think that's really important as we talk about leadership and goals, and how do you get to be a leader? How do you get to set yourself a little bit ahead of maybe somebody else? And if you are not looking at that end result, and you're not looking at what is my goal, and you need to take time to figure that out. If you are, I recommend this on a regular basis. If you are having a bad day, write down what kind of things are really hard for you that day. What kind of things are making your day tough? If you're having a good day, write down what did you really enjoy about that day. And if you keep a log of those types of things, you can go back and you start to see patterns. And so you can go back and look at what is it that I really enjoy doing? And you can set your goal to be creating that future. So construct your future. And ideas for increasing your stature and influence. These are some things effective male and female leaders do. Be a visionary. Look at look ahead at all times. When something happens, for example, this COVID crisis, you can say, oh my gosh, we're stuck here in the COVID crisis. You know, this is horrible. This is awful. Well, I will tell you, I have definitely, I've definitely had those words in my head and out loud. But the other part of that is you've got to turn around and you've got to say, okay, it is what it is. We are where we are. But how do we move this forward? How can we be positive, and how can we change this for the betterment of everybody? Be competent in managing change, planning, and organizing. Again, know your information, study, and again, the best part about Crew Network is you can reach out. If there's a section of some information that you are falling short on, there's an entire community here to help you. Develop a specific vision and plan for implementing the change. It's one thing to say, this is where, it should look like this, but if you don't do anything to take the steps to make those changes occur, it's not going to change. So you've got to actually take action. Demonstrate strong leadership, communication skills, and interpersonal skills to inspire others. You need to interact with others and be positive. Sometimes what you need to do is it's about drawing out the goodness in the people and drawing out what they know. There are some people that are so talented and they're so skillful and so knowledgeable, and they're very quiet and timid. And some of that is pulling out those skill sets from those people and getting them to have a voice. And so you want to pull people along and try to get them to bloom. So be an effective agent of change. Again, just encourage people, encourage interaction, encourage best practices, and really think, what does it take to put our best foot forward and move things down the line? And understand the importance of achieving corporate objectives. Sometimes it's very hard because sometimes you think, this is not at all what I would want to do. And so sometimes you can get stuck in that rut. But it's very important to understand the overall arching corporate objective, to understand where you need to head. So if you are working in a company and you don't understand where they're going, make sure to ask, because it's important to know what the goals are. If you are going to be somebody who contributes to the outcome and you want that to be a positive situation and you want to also further progress your career, you need to understand how to move the corporate objectives forward. And there are 3 areas that are consistently areas where women stumble and they really have a hard time. So when compared to male counterparts, the first is taking risks. Women typically like to know that what they're stepping into, they know almost everything about it, whether it be a career change or a situational change, even if it's a project. Women like to step into things where they feel secure and that they feel like they can shine if they take it on. In reality, a lot of men in our studies have found that a lot of men will say, I know about, maybe about 30% of the information. And they'll go ahead and say, I'll figure the rest out on the job. I'll figure the rest out as I go. So what happens, men are taking steps forward and they're progressing, and women are not taking those same steps. So take a risk, put yourself out there, take a risk. Relating and networking. Women talk all the time. And I can tell you, I have heard so many conversations where I've heard men speaking with each other and I've heard women speaking with each other. And men consistently they'll check in on each other's families. How's the family? What kind of things have you been doing? But they get down to business, and they talk about business, they talk about opportunities, and they also talk about personal opportunities. What kind of things are there to do with investments? What kind of things are you doing for your career, to progress your career? Men typically have those conversations far more than women do. Women very often focus on the family and how's everything going and what are you doing? And it's much more about the care type things, which is very maternally instinct. Those are maternal instincts, which is absolutely fabulous. And it's great to have those. And to be honest with you, you can tap into those because we have different abilities that our counterparts don't have, our male counterparts don't have. So you can use your instincts to your benefit, but at the same time, you have to stretch yourself and maybe make it a conscious effort to have those conversations about business. And the third thing that women typically don't do quite as well is make sure they have a seat at the table. And so in order to be seen and viewed as somebody who has input and can make decisions, try your very best to get yourself to have a seat at the table. And if it takes time to work your way in, pay attention to who does have a seat at the table. Pay attention to the relationships that are around that person at the table. And you will build a network to get closer to the people that are making those decisions at the table. And you will be able to have an impact, because if you are talking to the people who have a seat at the table, you're going to have some sort of impact, and people will start paying attention if you're talking to a lot of those folks that your ideas are getting put forward. It may initially go through somebody else, but continue to look at who has the voice and continue to talk to them. And the minute you have an opportunity to sit in, and you can ask, can you sit in on a meeting, sit in at a table, and always try to have something positive to say from a standpoint of offering some sort of a solution. So those are some things you can do as a female to try to pay attention a little bit more to what our male counterparts are doing and take a step forward.
Thank you, Christine. That was amazing. I think we should have a smaller group, for, because I do have a lot of young women leaders from India. And I think this is something very, very pertinent and useful for them. I'm going to go ahead and, just introduce Revti to join us and, give us because she has had, I think, one of the most fascinating stories that I've heard, and I'm extremely inspired by. So Revti Roy has been named Fortune's 50 most powerful women in the year 2019. And she has also been named as Forbes Women Trailblazer in 2017. And she's the winner of Niti Aayog's Women Transforming India. She is the founder of Hey Didi, and she was recently selected as a mentor under Government of India's Attendees Innovation Mission, and her company received venture funding of $500,000 from San Francisco-based fund called Metamorph in 2018. There is a book has been written on her. It's called Who's Revti Roy, and it's actually currently being made into a biopic in Bollywood. And I think Revti can tell us, I think she did tell me there is an actor, I think you had mentioned, I'll ask you that, Hey Didi features an all-women fleet that rides on two-wheelers to deliver parcels. She earlier had also pioneered into the first all-women taxi service in Asia. And Hey Didi also acts as a logistics partner for large e-commerce companies like Amazon. She clearly felt the need that to empower women when she also was left to fend for herself suddenly in her life following her husband's illness and subsequent, him passing away in 2006. So what she did is she channeled her passion for driving and she turned to ferrying passengers in a borrowed tourist car and thus created her business from scratch. As a serial entrepreneur, all her startups over the years have been driven by the ethos of empowering women. And may I add that, she just does not, she's actually gone and empowered women from the most underprivileged, class. Dear Revti, it's our honor and privilege to welcome you to this webinar to share your journey and your story as one of India's leading women who broke all barriers. And in the process, you have empowered several other women, and given them a livelihood. So please join me in welcoming Revti. Revti, please, over to you.
Thank you so much, and I'm so delighted to be. You can hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So lovely to be on this, and Christine, great listening to you. So I fundamentally think that women really break barriers all the time. I mean, I think it's like stretching the pound. That's why I always feel that women would definitely make better CFOs than men, because they really know how to, run 1 pound across many things that we need to do. And that's why we are called homemakers as well. So along with homemakers, if you run a home well, there is no way that you cannot run a business well. Because running a home, I think all of us know now, COVID-19, all of us are at home. I mean, the kind of home management that needs to be done, I think women are great financial CEOs. I don't think anybody can beat us. We are forever trying to be prudent, be fiscal, so many things, and we make the most of it. So that's introduction of a woman. Now, Pallavi introduced me, and thank you, Pallavi, for the very generous words that you used. So I call myself a hustler, because I think to survive, you really have to. Some people have it all great. That's what we feel, but I'm sure they have their own struggles to do as well. What's to be seen from the outside is not always true. It's just that my struggles have been at the forefront and everybody has seen it. So it's just so happened that I'm a professional rally driver, or car rally driver. And I've done like about 85 car rallies, 180 of them. And so the only skill that I always had was driving. I really didn't know anything else. I couldn't cook for nuts. I just didn't know anything else. So in 2007, about 13 years back, when my husband died, I was suddenly left with 3 children and no job and a debt of about 3 crores. I don't know, converted into US dollars, I don't know how much it is. But INR 3 crores, and it was scary, because I really didn't know what I would get onto the table to feed my children. And whoever I owed money to were all just, kind of calling me and making, naturally it's their money, they're going to keep calling me. So I just thought one fine day, what is it that I have in me? What can I do to actually bring food on the table? So the intent was simply to get food on the table. So I think we all become very relative in our approach to everything. Today, that time, the relativity was to feed my kids. It was simple. I needed that much money to buy food every day. So what was I thinking of? So I said, the only skill, like I said, I had was driving. So I decided to kind of take a vehicle and just go on the road. Now it needed a lot of regulatory issues were there. But I must mention here, because I don't think my existence can be kind of can be put anywhere without me mentioning that there was something so dramatic that happened in my life, which was the loss of my husband. And I belong to a place in India which is the eastern side of India, which is Tripura, which is a very small state. And widowhood there is very identified by physically, by change of clothing. You know, you have to wear white clothes when you become a widow. So getting out of the house and doing anything, you know, you see this what I'm wearing, it's called a bindi. This is typically a sign of a married woman. Widows don't wear this. You're not supposed to wear. You have to lose this when you actually become a widow. So leave aside stepping out of the house, it was impossible for me to even think that I would be able to do anything for 40 days after my husband's death. So, you know, there was somebody who came to visit me. To cut it short, I'll just tell you, and I was doing nothing. I was listening to some horrible songs, which were those very sad songs. And, you know, I was trying to, it's like you value in self-pity, you know, when something happens like that. The grief is so huge that you don't know what to do. And so this friend of mine came and he gave me a book. It was a book on Swami Vivekananda. He's an Indian philosophical leader, a very great personality. So he gave me a book and I started reading that. You know, there is a graphic representation of Swami Vivekananda sitting under a tree. And there's a young blind boy who's sitting with him. So that young blind boy asks Swamiji, he says, Swamiji, is there anything worse than losing your eyesight? And Swamiji turns around to him and says, yes, my son, losing your vision is worse than losing your eyesight. You know, I just shut the book and I said, what am I doing? Probably my late husband was my eyesight. But I have a bigger vision that I want to do now. I want to actually go out and see if I can empower more women. But that was only one part of my barrier. The second part was that I live in a I had lived in a joint family where there were 13 people living together. And it was impossible to think that I could leave the house on day 4 of my husband's death. So I had to call my mother-in-law and tell her that, you know, I have to step out. And I said, if I don't step out now, I probably will never be able to do it again. So she actually just held my hand and she said, you must go out. And she said, but only on one condition. And the condition was that she said that I do not want to ever see you in white clothes. I do not want to ever see you without this thing that I'm wearing. She said, I want you to get back to the way you were before your husband died. And the reason she said that to me was, she said that I don't want my grandchildren to get up every day in the morning, look at you and remember that they don't have a father. You know, it's so empowering. I mean, you know, we talk of various kinds of empowerment. This was such huge emotional empowerment for me that I just felt I cannot allow this to go waste. This was an emotional sacrifice that she made for me, because she sacrificed her grief, you know, in that moment and told me, you go ahead and make your life. So I just felt this is not on. I mean, you know, I have to, and this woman was not even, my mother-in-law was never been to school. She had never been to school. She was not really literate in the true sense of the technical sense of the word. But I think she was more literate than all of us put together. You know, look at what she did to me. She just empowered me so beautifully that I just stepped out and this is where I am today. I had no business to, you know, then wallow in self-pity and say to myself that, you know, now what am I going to do? So I stepped out, I took a vehicle, which was a tourist vehicle car. And I said, I'm a cab driver. I just went to the Mumbai International Airport and I told the people there that I need to now drive a vehicle. I'm going to drive a cab. And this cab is actually going to be for women only. So there'll be women drivers and women passengers. And that's how I started my cab service. So this became Asia's first platform to actually empower women with a skill to learn driving. And, you know, typically in India, still, I mean, I think it's much better now. We are good now, actually. The typical driver was not something which an educated person would want to do. So I'm a master's in economics from Mumbai University. So I just took to the road and I, you know, started driving. So here I was an example for somebody, and we had an English speaking driver. So, you know, people were very delighted to have me as their driver. And slowly I started getting women to come and join me. But I also realized that this is not a profession which a normal educated woman would want to take, because it's not getting that kind of respect. I mean, and people would rather be in a KPO, BPO and earn lesser money, because my girls have started earning a lot of money. And we got beautiful dresses designed for us. And we had lovely pink tunics, black trousers, pearl earrings, pink lipstick, nail polish, and we really looked like, so I said, no calling ourselves drivers, we shall call ourselves ground hostesses. So there are air hostesses and we were ground hostesses. So we called ourselves ground hostesses. So we began our journey like this, and it just worked. I think I was at the right time, right place. Like Christine just said, luck comes to people who work harder. You showed that it's really true. I mean, I think we have to work harder and luck will just follow us all the time. So I think I'm damn lucky to be with you, all of you on crew, and it's going to be a great journey ahead. So I moved from passenger movement when Uber and Ola and all came into existence. We were not able to do the price war was not manageable. So I was reading a report by World Bank which said that logistics industry is going to be the next big thing anywhere in the world. It's a $200 billion industry. So I just said to myself, why should I be into passenger movement? Let me get into logistics movement. And today I think we are the only company anywhere in the world doing women last mile delivery agents. We work for e-com companies and we're doing last mile deliveries on 2-wheelers, 4-wheelers. We're also starting 3-wheelers. And COVID-19 lockdown, the government has given us permission to do essential services. So we are not doing e-com as in terms of delivering your cosmetics and stuff like that, but we are doing essential deliveries right now. We are doing vegetables, we are doing all of those things. And almost 80% of my girls are on the road even today. We are battling COVID-19. We are in the lockdown period, but the government has given us permission. So almost 80% of my girls have come out on the road to do what we are doing. And I think that's a great, great salute to all of them. Like doctors, like nurses, our girls are also on the road, doing what we are doing. And I think women are just too good. I don't think there's nobody, they cannot be a second hand to anybody. So getting a seat on the table, getting a seat anywhere. Today, getting a seat on the road, to be able to move around and do something, we have given you essential delivery, which no one else is able to do. Not many people are able to do that. So I think we are very fortunate to be able to, help people at this time of lockdown and COVID-19, that we're able to serve people, and we are doing a lot. We're supplying almost 10,000 packets of food every day to migrant workers, to labor force which are stuck somewhere. People are just calling us. We are short of people. If I had another 1,000 girls working with me, we would all still be busy. So I have told, I've made some posts and put it up on Facebook and LinkedIn and all that. And I'm telling people that there's a dramatic change that's going to happen after COVID-19. A lot of domestic help workers who were doing domestic work may not get their jobs back in India, at least. I am offering jobs to all of them. I'm telling them, come with us, learn with us. We will make you walk and make you a logistic provider. We will simply make you 2 kilometers walk and you go and deliver goods to them. So we are making that system, and I think we'll do well. So great being here.
Thank you so much for that, Revati. That's, I think I cannot ever feel that I've heard enough. It's every time I hear it's so inspiring, so inspiring to hear your story, and you're just so quick to adapt. Like immediately you realize there is an opportunity. Things change. COVID-19, for example, the context quickly changed, but you still sort of you kind of tweak your business model, and now you're actually you did tell me that you're delivering essentials. Go ahead.
The point is that if you don't make an opportunity of, so in my son runs another company, and there we were doing, it's a factory, but we quickly realized that vegetables are going to be needed every day. So we started doing vegetable supply from the factory there, and it's just needed. You can't help it. That's the only thing that people want right now. So how can you not be of help to people when, and we are not an NGO. You know, we are not a not-for-profit. We are a completely for-profit company. So we do get paid even in this COVID-19, but it's not as good as we were getting paid earlier, but it's okay. We'll sustain.
No, and employment is so important, right? With people feeling so unsure where their livelihood is going to be. So it's just.
I want to empower 100,000 women, because I think that's what my mother-in-law up there is watching me and saying, that don't let my sacrifice go waste. This is what she's telling me. She's really telling me that.
I wanted to just open the forum for all the people that have joined us, in the audience. If they have any questions for Christine or Revati, we will definitely be able to take few questions. Anybody from the audience, please you can either raise your hand and we can give you a control to ask the question, or you can type your question on the chat thing and we can ask it on your behalf. In the meanwhile, Laura, can I just go ahead and quickly have a couple of questions from my end, which I have put together. First question I wanted to ask was, Revati, I was reading through your some story, and you said there was once a time you did not have enough money to pay for your husband's medical bills, and you were also sent to prison for defaulting on loans, and you wrestled back with the setbacks to start up 3 startups, and what was going on in your heart and mind that time, that you're fighting odds, or you were feeling that, no, this is something I am going to be able to overcome? Because that's not a very easy context, right? You're a lot of unsurety, you're in the jail, you don't have the financial capability. So what was going on in your, deep in your heart and mind?
Okay, so the day I got arrested, I just felt life is over. I mean, there was no way that there was no way that I could ever think that I would have a future, because it's almost, it's like gone, dead and gone. And for my children, it was probably one of the worst things. That I have 3 boys, and for my kids, probably it was one of the worst things that could happen, because here was a father who could not talk, because my husband was in a comatose state for 2.5 years. And that's how the medical bills mounted up. And that's how I went to jail. So paying the medical bills, I borrowed a lot of money. It just didn't work. And, finally he died. But imagine my children's condition, that they had a father who could not talk, and they had a mother who would not talk. So it was so pathetic. It was so, today when I see my boys and, I think that they're normal human beings. It is a huge achievement. It is a huge achievement. So what was going on in my mind that time? It's almost you're dead. Indian prisons, there is police lockup, there is a prison, and it's, even now it kind of exhausts me to think as well. There were years and years when I never spoke about it, because that was a banned topic in my house. But when the authorized biography got done, that's the first time that I started speaking about it. And if I now think that I survived that, if I survived my 3 months of jail, I can survive anything. I mean, I really can survive anything, because I don't think, it's just the thought of no freedom. Everything that you take for granted today, being in your house, being able to move, just being there and being able to do what you want. And the humiliation that you suffer without being convicted is probably the worst thing that can happen to anybody. I mean, you're not even convicted. The case has not even happened. I've got acquitted in all my cases. But the fact is, I did spend 3 months in jail. And that can kill you. It can really kill you. But yeah, I survived. And, I think that's why I said I'm a survivor. I'm a hustler. And the best thing was that I didn't fall sick there. If you fall sick in the jail, you're done. I don't think you can survive that. It's not possible. So, it's crazy, And also after you come out, it's not that you're out and you're back to normalcy. People around you can be so terrible. My God, it is, I I was never I never judged people even earlier. I really never judged people. But even so, after what happened to me, I don't judge people at all. I mean, you have no business, man. I mean, how do you know what the person is going through? How can you judge anybody? Who are you? You cannot judge anybody. I mean, and then the social ostracism. Oh my God, that was insane. People never wanted to meet me. People never wanted to talk to me. They used to run away from 5 feet. It's like exactly now social distancing that was happening with me that time. That people were running away from me. But I guess the same people did come back after I was put on. I mean, after I became a kind of a successful entrepreneur. And the Forbes and the Fortune and all that was, oh, you're a great friend and stuff like that. So I became everybody's great friend, and but it's fine. I mean, I think they did what they thought was the best thing to do. I think you can't fault them for that. Maybe I would have also behaved the same way. Who knows? But to gather money at that point of time, to even start kind of, I got recognized by the World Bank. And so when they were wanting to kind of recognize me for giving a grant, it's coming through now. But so, when it was at the final stage and I went to DC and I was making a presentation and I was selected. So that time when they started speaking to me and they said, this is almost final. The first thing that I did that day was, I said, I must tell you what happened with me. So I told them my whole story. And I said, if you after this want to give me something, I will take it. But I do not want to defend myself ever in my life. This has happened with me. You want to still associate with me? Good luck. If you don't want to, I'm happy. I will still make my living. And they gave it to me, So I think honesty pays. The Indian government as well, when they recognized me with the Niti Aayog award, which is the award instituted by the Prime Minister of India. When I got selected and I was #1 in that, I also wrote to them and I said, this is what happened with me. I went to prison. You want to give me an award? Please decide. I don't want to answer anybody. I don't want to, I really don't want to. And when the biopic got announced and the book got written, the biopic got announced, there were strange calls that I got. Strange. It was so funny because it was on the front page of a leading newspaper in India, in Bombay. And it's being produced by one of the very popular producers called John Abraham. And so when I got that, there were people who called John and told him, you must not do it. She went to prison. So he said, that's the story. So, what do you do with, what do you do with people? Am I trying to hide my story? It's out in a book. I mean, what are you trying to do? Play moral police? I have 2 lovely fur pets. I have dogs. Trust me, I love them more than I love human beings. Because they're so sweet, they're so unconditional. People are forever wanting to judge you. And so now, nothing makes a difference to me. I'm so kind of abnormal, Somebody says something to me on my face, I couldn't be bothered. I'll just say sad. I mean, what to do now? Somebody said, I must tell you this, very funny. There was a very close friend and I was coming back from Dubai, from DC. And, so I was in I don't want to say this, but I'm saying this. I was in business class and she was also in business class. So we got down and she was very old, my husband's friend and all that, but she had stopped talking to me. She refused to recognize me because how can I be on the same class as she is? I came back home and I told my kids, I said, she refused to recognize me. So they said, Mom, at least you have the grace. No, you recognized her. Leave it, forget it. So we are a family of forget it. We are a family of forget it, move on. Forget it, move on. We actually like that. We just say, we don't want to go back to the past. We really don't want to go back to the past. So let's go ahead. And I think God has been very kind to me. I have gratitude every moment of my life. And, my son's wedding was supposed to be on the 25th of April, just 3 days back in Sri Lanka, in Colombo. So we decided that it's not happening there. And we actually, I said in my mind, I actually made a kind of thing in my mind. And I said, COVID-19, go to hell. We will continue with our lives. And I had the wedding at home. with a priest and just 5 people in the house. We went ahead with the wedding. And we just said, we have to tell COVID-19, go to hell now. We're going to run our lives the way we want to. So we should all say COVID-19, go now. You know, we're not fed up of you.
Thank you so much, Tracy.
That's
Thank
my
you.
life.
Thank you. I wanted to ask one question to Christine. Christine, I was also reading some, one of the articles, and I remember as a young girl, you wanted to be a cashier and a banker. And then as a teenager, you actually wanted to study finance, which was not, and you wanted to go to Wall Street. And I think that was not a sort of like a usual choice for girls. What made you choose to do that irrespective? And you said, no, I'm going to do that. And you actually are in a very strong real estate finance leader in your industry. What made you, what kind of internal thought you were going for that? I'm going to do this irrespective. I'm not going to go and do the usual thing, what is expected out of, young girls.
I'm not sure. I remember, it's funny. I remember vividly thinking, and, where it came from, I'm not sure, but I remember thinking I can take the easy road and I can do what is the easiest thing to do, or I can do something that's challenging that not as many people are doing. And so maybe there's a better opportunity if I take that challenge. And, and I remember, it's funny, this story came up not too long ago. I remember sitting in I was in an advanced statistics class, and we were going over a concept. I was struggling with this concept. And I was in a class, there were, I think, 12 to 15 of us in this class, and I was the only female. And the professor kept saying, "What's the matter, Blondie? Can't you get it?" And I just remember sitting there just with this huge lump in my throat. And, and my last name used to begin with an A. So then they sat us alphabetically. And I sat in this front seat, and he would just look over and he'd say, "Aw, she can't get it. Aw, she can't get it." And he just kept demoralizing me the more the class, and thankfully there was a guy that sat behind me, and he would just put his hand, so the rest of the class couldn't see it. And he would put his hand right on my shoulder, on the edge of my shoulder. And he would just kind of tap and rub it gently, so nobody could see it. And he would, and the minute the professor would look away, he would say, "I have you, I have you." And so he literally, I would just sit there, just try my hardest to not cry. And I would think, I'm going to get this. I'm going to get this. You're not going to get the best of me. And so I would leave class, and I would go meet with the guy that sat behind me, and he would walk me through it. And then I got it. And I would say, there's one step I'm missing. I'm just not understanding it. And so he went through it with me, just in a different language, he said it differently to me, and I got it. And I sat in that class, and I thought, how dare you? How dare you tell somebody they can't do something instead of encouraging, and never once did that professor come up to me and say, "Why don't you come speak with me? Come see me after class, or let's get together. I'll help you with this." He never once did. He just kept putting me down and putting me down. And it was because of that guy that sat behind me and said, this isn't going to happen. And so I think of that all the time. I think I don't know, I always say I have a fight within me, that is just, don't, and I'm listening to your story too, talking about don't tell me I can't. There's a will, there's a way, there's that saying, there's a will, there's a way. I went through a divorce, and I have three boys. So maybe there's a little something to that. But at the time I had 2 boys, but I had been staying at home. I was not making an income. And so I got out of a divorce with very, very little. I had borrowed some money from my parents to move, and I moved to Atlanta, and I hardly had any money at all. And and it made me work hard. It made me really want to show the world I could do it. And I think there's just if you get that fight in your belly, you know, that fight and that determination, and you just decide, you just literally, I say, you know, when you wake up in the morning, you have a decision to make. Do you want to be happy? Do you want to try to move the needle forward, as they say, or do you want to sit there and just let the world go by? And you know, I wake up, I have a fight, and I want to make a difference. And I just think I'm on this earth for a reason. And so I have to tell you, some days you have no idea what that reason is. It's not like you wake up every day and you know what it is. But everybody has a purpose, and you will have the right people around you. You have to look, and if people are not good for you, and very much, I love that you say about the judging people, because I always say, I don't care if you are the world's top CEO or you are somebody who is scraping gum off of a sidewalk or park bench. You are a human being and you deserve respect until you earn the right to not be respected. Everybody has the ability to do something to contribute to life, and not everybody has the same skill set and the same wherewithal, but you have something. And you figure out what that something is and you fight for it. And I don't know. So I just have a don't quit. I just have a don't quit somewhere in my belly that somebody made me mad.
And I think you should tell this to all women that, you know, just do exactly what everybody's telling you not to do, you know, and that's it. The minute somebody tells you don't do it, you must do that, you know.
Yeah, but you know, also I'll tell you, I don't think there's any need to prove anything to anybody.
Exactly.
You just have to feel happy doing it.
Feel it
Because
here.
the minute you get into that race of, you know, I have to prove this to somebody, there's a problem. Because then you're not doing what you want to. You do it.
Proven to somebody. To me, I'm proving it to myself that I can do it.
You won't believe it. Every day, weekdays, I am, even now during the lockdown that we have, I've been dressing up as usual at 9:30 in the morning, and I come outside in my drawing room, take my laptop and sit down. I take lots of pictures of myself and I put it on Insta and say, today's Monday, today's Tuesday, today's Wednesday. I mean, I'm just, you know, this is my go-to office look. Because I think I just back to office every day. You have to mentally keep yourself agile as well. So, you know.
I wanted to actually, there's a question from Kasha here. Kasha, you want to come on line and ask the question, or do you want me to ask your question? Because I want to ask this question to Christine, because it's a question I had asked with Wendy also, because Kasha, do you want to come and ask the question directly to Christine, or shall I ask it for you?
You're welcome to ask her. That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
Please ask Christine. Thank you.
So, Christine, I wanted to know, and this is something I had a very long chat with Wendy on this, and I was sharing some of my course, and I realized that sometimes women can be women's worst enemies, you know, more than men. And this is a question from Kasha, I think kind of similar thing. And I think women sometimes start bullying other women in terms of, because it's a complex thing, right? Sometimes women use their feminist side to sort of, you know, because if you have to win your argument, you can use any kind of argument to just sort of, you know. So do you think women end up bullying other women sometimes in corporate world or work environment? Why?
Yeah, no, I mean, I've experienced it. I've heard it from other women. It definitely happens. And I think that is one of the biggest things that, you know, that we as women leaders can do, is to not put up with that. And to, if we see it or we hear about it, we try to help, you know, minimize that. I will give you an example. While I was president of Crew Atlanta, there was somebody, one of our members was the head of head of membership committee. And she had a lot going on with work. She had started her own company. She has 3 boys. But I'll tell you, you know, and her husband took a position that was an international travel, and she had a lot going on. And so, and then her father fell sick, and she was having to help take care of the family business. And she had to, she had to step down from leading the committee because she just had way too much going on. And I can remember there were two women that were starting to talk about her performance as a leader. And I said, and I remember telling the board, I said, absolutely not. That is not what we're about. I said, there's too much that have women tear down other women, and it is zero help. None of that is going to help us ever progress at all. So, so we had, you know, the liaison spoke with that committee and said, and especially in times like this, we lift each other up and we help each other. And we are going to be here. Life happens. We are going to be here to support each other however we need to. And we nipped it, as they say, nip it in the bud. And that was it. And I said, you know, you contribute too much. So I think that, you know, if we, yes, it does happen. Yes, you have to watch out for it. But if people are tearing you down or tearing other people down, typically I say, you know, it's worth it. Don't, you know, you don't need to surround yourself by those kind of people. But very often, the root of tearing it down is either jealousy or some kind of insecurity on their part. It's not your problem, it's their problem. And if you can understand, and I think of a lot of root issues there's always a backstory to it. And if you can understand the background story to it, you can certainly, you know, deal with that type of conflict so much better and not take it personally. So, so yes, it happens. I think that, you know, the move on, you know, forget it and move on is probably the best, is the best suggestion. And stay away from those kind of people unless you have time to sit down and talk with them and get to understand what's going on with them.
Thank you, Christina. I think we are just running. I think we are 15 minutes over. So I just wanted to have one. There is a lady called Seema Dagar on this webinar, and she has posted something as an opinion. And Seema, would you like to just come unmute yourself and just share what and I think with that we can probably wrap up if we have no more questions. Seema, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm there. Hi, Pallavi. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, go ahead, Seema.
So what I have seen, I come from forces and then to corporate, into real estate and logistics. What I have seen is women, they play the women card pretty quickly. Instead of playing into the strength. And there are strong women, I don't deny that. In my team, I had few managers and they were deadly. They can beat any man like anything. But yes, there were a lot of them. Very quickly they give up, and then they have a number of XYZ reasons and excuses not to come in and do the thing. See, if you have joined an organization, I think you need to live up to what you are paid for, not for the boss, for the organization. So that's where the glitch comes in. And every now and then you are coming up with the issues. That's not good. And that's how the rapport of a woman goes for a toss. In fact, I would like to, what Revati is doing, has done rather. I was heading the Western region for Mahindra Logistics, and I wanted to convert employee transportation for one of the customer side for entire with the women crew led by that. My customer refused, saying that, okay, fine, my ladies will be pretty good with that part, but now your drivers are going to be having a safety issue because in the night, males are also going to be there. You were refused, point blank. Otherwise, that was on the agenda, and we wanted to convert the entire site driven by women, and including my ADMs and on site, entire end-to-end ladies. But then things do flip up, all these issues come into play.
Thank you so much, Seema, for sharing that. Thank you so much. And I wanted to just ask one last time if anybody has any other question for Christine or Revati. We will take one last question. Otherwise, I think any one last quick parting thought, Christine, from you and Revati. We'll then wrap it up.
Sure. I would just say, if you would like any information, one of the things that, one of our sayings that we've gotten accustomed to saying here in Crew is we've got your back. And then, you know, and bring your A game. So just, you know, show up, stretch yourself, be kind, you know, be kind to people, be kind to yourself. And, you know, and if there's anything that we can do, we would love to have you be a part of our organization. And, you know, we can go on, you can go on Crew Network website, or get with Pallavi, and she can help you out in pointing you in the right direction. But we'd like to be here for you. And if there's anything we can do to answer questions, let us know. Thanks so much. This has been such an honor to be across the pond from you. And I have totally looked forward to this interaction. And I want to thank you so much for putting this together and for having me. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Christine. Anything quickly, Revati, you want to just add one quick thought, last line before we?
I think my ethos has been dreams are free. So one can always dream. It doesn't cost money to dream, because unless you dream, I think there is no way that you can go out and do anything, however impossible it may be. And secondly, at the cost of sounding audacious, may I offer my services to Crew for any kind of mentoring if anybody would like to take from me, or for any business. If I can be a part of that, I would be very happy to mentor anybody for any business. And if I can play a role, I'll be very glad to do it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Revati. I just want to quickly say I wanted to thank Laura and Jenny and Major Sony from Merck's. We were working in the background for a lot of things. I just wanted to give a big shout out to them, because we actually conceptualized this very just few days ago, and we said, okay, let's just do this. And we actually kind of, you know, working. So I really want to give thanks to Laura.
Thank you for tolerating my no technology knowing business. I'm sorry, I made a mess in the beginning.
Not at all. It was absolutely our pleasure. Thank you, everyone. Hopefully we'll do another one soon. So have a good evening. Good night. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Stay healthy.
Thank you.